There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The final words from Nick Brown for the first 45 or 55 odd laps. And he called it single file start here for the first stint. Remembering there will be a competition caution between laps 45 and 55. So we'll wait as the laps count down, and lap traffic, much like the sprint car feature, is going to have a lot to play in this one as well. But Brock Maskovich is the one out front that has full control in the R&R Malum number 5M machine, as Michael Pickens in the 54 CRC machine looking for a better result than what was delivered in the sprint car feature. And then the teammate to Pickens, Ben Morrison, lines up third. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you came for. 96 laps at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. For the last lap, get on the edge of your seat. We are set to go racing. Brock Maskovich off the front, and we take the green and we are racing. As we head down into minus turn number 1 on the opening lap, wheels flying for Brock Maskovich. There's still plenty of drive down on that low line. As we check a little bit further back, and Alec Inslee and Aaron Hodgson running that top shelf, trying to navigate through the traffic as he just bounces off the cushion down at inside safety Blackwoods. Turn number 3 does Alec Inslee. Pickens and Maskovich running that low line, nose to tail there, trying to conserve the race car just a little bit. But as we say that, Maskovich goes top shelf and just leaves the door open for Pickens. So no doubt Maskovich will drop back down to that bottom lane. Obviously still plenty of drive there, but watch out for the ever hard charging number 97 of Ben Morrison in the promo lab machine. Now tries to go high and wide around the outside of Pickens. There is no holding back the youngster, and tonight is no different. He is on an absolute mission and looking to add yet another feature sticker to the tail tank of that machine as he throws the slider now up the inside of Maskovich, and they are 3 wide down at turn number 3 and 4. And the promo lad 97 takes the lead off Maskovich. And as we say that, Michael Pickens now slots into the second and tries to get it done up the inside of Ben Morrison at the same time. So it looks like Pickens doing Pickens things and just conserving that race car and not letting the leader go. And remembering, you've just got to be in the mix to make sure that you are on the money for the second stint of the race. And obviously you can't start the second half of the race if you're parked on the infield. So making sure that you keep that race car underneath you in good tip-top condition. And when the time comes to put fuel, tyres, and any kind of setup change on, that you give your best self the shot at the $9,600 here, as Pickens throws a light slider up the inside of Ben Morrison just to let him know that he's there. A little bit further back in this one now, Maskovich just dropping off the train just a little bit, which is allowing a little Jade Worthington now just to get up the inside of Maskovich, and he takes that third spot away from him. So move Maskovich back into the 4th spot. Trent Way lurking in the background down on the pole line as well. And watch out, Alec Inslee, the number 71 Yale machine, is sitting there in the 6th spot as well. Just behind him, Aaron Hodgson working his way forward. He started deep in this one, down in position number 14. And he's found himself right on the back of the fast train as well. As we see Brad Hollier get into the wall down at NZ Safety Blackwoods and manages to keep it going. And we stay green here with 10 laps completed next time by for Ben Morrison, your current leader. So cars starting to stretch out throughout the racetrack. The first of the lap traffic, still some young drivers of Basilay, Shane Dewar and Matt Watson in there as well. So we're only going to be half a lap or so before Morrison and Pickens find their way into the lap traffic. And remembering, both those cars identical in chassis and engine configuration as well. So Justin Inslee's King chassis being represented in force here in the last lap at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. Jaden Worthington hanging on to that 3rd spot from Trent Way, Alec Inslee, and now Maskovich has dropped back another 3 spots, and now Aaron Hodgson is right on the back of Maskovich as well, trying to work his way forward. But this is the battle for the lead as Morrison is right on the back of Matt Watson and gets up the inside, splits the needle between Basilay and Watson. Basilay running the formerly campaign machine by to now. And getting his last in here at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. So Morrison working his way through the traffic. Pickett's just lurking in the background as well, and letting Morrison do the heavy lifting in the traffic at this point in time. Third place driver Jaden Worthington now going to find himself on the back of Matt Watson, trying to get through around the lap cars, and that is going to allow the next group of cars of Way, Inslee and Hodgson to close up. And in doing so, you can always assure on Aaron Hodgson to go the long way around and keep his foot on the loud pedal and get it done. But still, Pickens running in that second spot behind young Ben Morrison and doing a good job as we see Hodgson right on the tail tank of Trent Way there and trying to get his way up the inside, but the door closes. Trent Way just pulling the nose off the front of the 35. Hodgson won't take that lightly, and no doubt he'll make life a little bit more of a misery for Trent Way as he gets up the inside. Yeah, one shot with Aaron, and he isn't going to take it lightly as we see Alec Inslee hit the wall at NZ Safety Blackwards, and he's got a flat left rear, and the Yale number 71 pulls to the infield with a retirement. So unfortunately for the third King Toyota, then this one retires to the infield. And that allows clear air back behind Hodgson. The next car in that train is going to be Brad Mosley, the Greenway number 10, as we see the number 63 of Peter Honeybell getting into the wall. So Ben Morrison, Michael Pickens still duking it out. And speaking of duking it out, the Dutech number 41, the machine which was qualified by Graham Standring, about to go a lap down by Ben Morrison and Michael Pickens. Morgan McHugh in the thick of this one as well, trying not to go a lap down. And then Aaron Hodgson is going to find himself in the top three very shortly as he gets up the inside of, around the outside of Trent Way. Now gets into the left rear of Jaden Worthington and tries to work way around the long way. Do not discount the 35 Esslinger 360 property management machine out of this race. He's fast and he is working his way forward. And as we say, he started out in grid position number 14 and is already up into the third spot. So Aaron Hodgson marching his way forward. Still trying to play the long game. 23 laps completed by our leaders at this point in time. Remembering needing to get to at least 45 before we have our competition caution. Still Morrison leading Pickens, and an ever hard charging Aaron Hodgson trying to work his way forward as we see contact there dropping below the pole line as Morrison, and Pickens not able to take advantage of that, but certainly right in the mix. And lurking is Hodgson banging the wall down here at turn number 3, and he is coming. He is absolutely taking chunks out of the two King Toyotas as we see one go around down at minus turn number 1 and 2, and that is going to bring out our first yellow after 25 laps. So unfortunately, the hard work that Bryce Kenyon did for Brad Hollier, putting that car up the front for this one, is unfortunately come undone, and who knows, I think Bryce Kenyon's left to get his suit back on. So this is spicing up well and truly. So remembering, laps are still continuing to count by. So we're under 20 laps until our potential competition caution. So we'll wait and see how this one plays out. But ladies and gentlemen, the hardest charging driver on one heck of a mission, undisputed doing so, is that driver that came out of grid position number 14 of Hodgson. So we'll wait and see how this one plays out, as we will be taking the restart here of this one very shortly. But the fastest driver on track, no doubt about it, by a 10th of a second ahead of Morrison. So Aaron Hodgson, the fastest car on track before that caution. Ben Morrison was the second fastest car, and Jaden Worthington was third. So let's keep an eye on this one playing out. And obviously making sure that you've still got decent life on that tyre underneath you as well. So we're just waiting to see how this one plays out, and looking for the 35 has gone down to rear of field at this point, so unsure what's happening here. Is correct, running in third, so we're just going to actually close up the field, and the rest of the field is going to chase down Aaron Hodgson, who's in the white and red car, which is slowing down at the back of the train. So the rest of the field, well, sorry, Ben Morrison and Michael Pickens will go past him, and then he'll slot into that third spot. So that is how this is going to play out here, and then track position will be looking a whole lot better and set to go racing once again. So things are going to come alive once again here, as 32 laps have been counted on the tally, and from there as well, lurking in the 6th position, the driver that's had a certainly challenging night and trying to work his way forward is the driver who started just ahead of Aaron Hodgson out of grid position number 12 is Brad Mosen. So Mosen clawing his way forward, and certainly one of the fittest drivers on track at point in time. So we'll wait and see. What has Mosen got? Has he got anything for the drivers in front? You're about to find out as we get set to go green next time by. Lights are out, and we are set to go racing once again. Ben Morrison, your pace setter, he's right up against the wall, trying to take advantage of the extra grip up there. And we are back racing after the yellow flag. And here it is, Aaron Hodgson, right up the inside of Michael Pickens, takes the front off, and unfortunately for Hodge, he's going to lose that spot back to Pickens exiting turn number 2. Mosen banging the wall down at turn number 3 and trying to work his way forward, loses the spot to Ben Morgan in that 5th position, and here comes the charge around the outside, the 3rd car on the racetrack. Aaron Hodgson, the only driver choosing to go the long way round. Pickens just sliding up the racetrack as another retirement of the 61 of Collier, as Ben Morrison under all kinds of pressure now, not only from Pickens, but Aaron Hodgson is right in there as well. Mosen sees the advantage of the 35 by running that top shelf. Hodgson slides over the nose, gets up the inside of Morrison, and he's going to drive straight under and clear him down into turn number 2. And the Esslinger 35 hits the wall, and up and over does Aaron Hodgson. And he was banging that wall, and Aaron Hodgson doing Aaron Hodgson things and hanging it all out, and unfortunately taking himself out of the 96 lapper in the 360 property management, number 35. And he is unhappy with himself as he bangs the wheel and shakes his head. And he is A-OK, but he is not a happy camper, and rightly so. As we see a replay on screen, so Hodgson going down, and he was running right up against the wall anyway, and the car just gets a little bit floaty, and there was nothing left on the outside of the track, and up and over went the 35 of Aaron Hodgson. And great to see Hodge walking through the infield and certainly going out, putting on a show for the fans, but not the way he wanted to. So let's see another angle from that, from the top of the tower, just out of shot there. And he was hard up against the wall, and him and Mosen were the only drivers running that line, and there was certainly pace there from both those race cars running that part of the racetrack, and you got to be so careful, it's so treacherous on that part of the racetrack. And obviously no margin for error as we see Travis Buckley and the other Spike Esslinger on the hook being pulled to the infield. So I tell you what, it's going to be a race of attrition here as we try and keep these cars on the track is going to be our first challenge. And no doubt Ben Morrison and Michael Pickens have just seen the 35 on the hook, and what has happened there. And to finish first you may finish, and that is not what Shane Alec and the entire team were hoping for their man. And I tell you what, he was on a mission, and certainly a crowd favourite, and purely for the excitement factor of Aaron Hodgson. He worked his way through the C into the B, and was working his way forward and was running in first at that point in time. So unfortunate end to the night there for Hodge, and he'll be unfortunately with the second best view on the racetrack for the remainder of this one, as we're about to cross through into our competition caution period as we click over 43 laps. So I wouldn't almost be surprised that we stay yellow for another couple and then the reds might come on, but we'll wait and see how this one plays out. And we're still looking to clean up that racetrack down here from the fluids that had come out the back of Aaron Hodgson's car. So we'll wait and see how this one plays out. But you wouldn't have picked that, I tell you. So as the drivers head past the transponder line, there is 44 laps showing here. And next time by will be 45, so we'll be in our window for that competition caution. So we'll wait and see how this one plays out, whether Speedway New Zealand call it just yet, or whether we're going to get green next time by. So driver lineup looking good. Everyone's in position and line astern. So we will be going green next time by as the lights are out around Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. Let's get excited, ladies and gentlemen, on the edge of your seat. And we get set to go green and go racing once again. Here it is inside our 45 lap window. Competition caution can come on at any point from now, but Ben Morrison takes the green and gets up to a great start, jumping Michael Pickens by some 5 car lengths. Jaden Worthington slots into that third spot, and here comes the attack from the Greenway SP Tools driver and Brad Mosen in the 10A machine, trying to get up the inside, and Trent Way trying to take that 4th spot. And looking like he's going to get there next time by. And the yellow comes out, and timely fashion, because Terence Durrell parks it down here at turn number 4. And I'd say, if you're a betting man, I would say that would almost be time for the caution. So just having a small amount of insight from obviously being in the tower with the race control team, and just the way things had played out there. The incident there that occurred, unfortunately for Terence Durrell, may just play into the hands of our competition caution. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up going into red flag conditions very soon, as we can already see a whole lot of movement down in pit lane. The teams are already starting to move around, and high-vis jackets are on. Mules are moving. Pit bikes are moving with all the extra equipment. So let's wait and see how this one plays out. Unfortunately, it was at the expense of Terence Durrell down there. It doesn't look like there's any damage to the South Pack Machinery car, and the message has got across, and we are under competition caution conditions, Nick Brown. And I tell you what, this is exciting. And who would have picked this had happened up to this point? So Nick Brown, obviously there's plenty going on, and we just spoke about it initially, and he's down getting his piece of the action as well, trackside. So we'll get back to Nick Brown soon, but we're waiting at the gate. All the teams are down here ready to run out with the fuel, with the tires, and all the other necessities to prep these cars ready to go green. 47 laps completed, and still plenty of action left to run. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, all the teams running out with their high-vis on to prepare those cars for the back end of this race. 47 laps completed with 49 left to run. So virtually 250 lapper races essentially bundled together. And I tell you what, seeing a dejected Aaron Hodgson walking to the pit gate with his helmet and gear, minus the race car, not a happy camper as he's just walking through shot there. So no doubt the team will already be loading the trailer, and not the end to their campaign at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway, that's for sure. So the team will be hard at work. There'll be a buzzer that goes off to announce the 5 minutes of working time to be able to commence on the cars, and the work will begin. So the 5-minute horn will go shortly, which will allow teams to be able to work on those race cars, and you may or may not see drivers get out of the car, depending obviously the complexity of obviously getting in and out of these cars isn't the easiest thing. But for drivers like the one on screen at this point in time, a young jockey, young Ben Morrison, doing a great job and mixing it with the best in the business, the likes of Michael Pickens and Aaron Hodgson. I cannot believe what we saw there as we see the helmet come off for Brad Mosen there, cooling himself off. And it looks like they're borrowing the Sokol Racing mule there with the tyres, and Zach Sokol's down there holding onto the jack. He finished 5th in the sprint car feature here tonight as well. Not too sure if Zach can hear us down there trackside. So Steve Warrington down there, Aussie Sokol as well, along with Wayne Green. So we'll wait for that horn, and then the teams can get to work and start preparing those race cars. There's Brad Mosen, there we go. So one of the fittest guys in the business, climbing out of that race car. So plenty going on, and unsure if we've got Graham Standring with any insight or where he's at this point in time. But certainly with the Kings Royale race, Graham Standring had the box seat. And Graham Standring, have you got us on the one-way comms?
Okay, we're with Ben.
Yeah, hang on 1 second, I'll just tell you what to do. Both those red and the left red.
So plenty happening down there, and Graham was initially trying to chat with one of the drivers. And Graham Standring, what do you got?
Ben, mate, got off to a cracking start. A lot of pressure from Aaron Hodgson. How do you deal with someone like that breathing down your neck?
To be honest, I wasn't sure if he was a lap down or not. Like, he came flying past us once we were on the yellow, and I wasn't sure what was going on. But, yeah, I mean, he was driving at 110%, and you can see what happens when you're doing that. So, you know, I'm probably only running about 65% out there at the moment. Like, you got to keep the car under you, you know, it's such a long race, and I want to make sure I got some energy left at the end. So I think it's going to be an awesome race towards the end. The Promo Lab 97 King Tiardi's hooked up, and I'm going to keep ripping the top for another.
Mate, looking forward to it. I'll let you get back into it. Rest, get well. Have a great race out there. Man, this is just really turning it up. And the sensation of being here on the middle of the track, watching this work happen, knowing we're going to go back to it. Graham, this is something else.
It certainly is, and it's a real cat and mouse between these first two cars. Shame for Aaron Hodgson, just unbelievable, but yeah, like you said, if you drive 110%, sometimes you pay the price. But we know that the speed's coming, but certainly I'm intrigued by the cat and mouse game, and also who's coming up through them too. Brad Mosen's starting to make some ground as well.
And that just before we went to the break, Brad Mosen really started pinning up against the wall and was looking for that high line. It is really interesting how evenly matched these two cars are, the 54 and the 97.
Yeah, it is even matched. You sort of expect that. They're the same chassis, same engine, the same configuration, just quite a difference in experience. So it's going to be really awesome. But further back in the field, there's some really good racing as well.
Mate, we're just halfway in, so it's like one feature down, another feature to run. So honestly, anything could happen where we are.
Yes, you're right. You know, this is clearly the longest race that we've ever had at Western Springs. The past longest race was a 60-lap race where they started single file, but they started fastest from the back in that race. But this race is certainly a real team thing. The guys are all hard at work. The drivers came out of their cars, spoke to their crew chiefs, decided what they wanted to change on the cars. And in Ben's case, it's both rear wheels. Michael's case, I think it's the same. So, and they're thinking about the pros and cons of their cars and where they think they could adjust it to be better. So, like you say, here we go again.
Mate, we're 50 laps in. There goes the hooter, which means you've got one more minute to go. One more minute to go. Then there's a hooter. You can't touch the car. We got to get off the field and do it. Western Springs Stadium. Are you enjoying this big last race? They couldn't hear you at the city council offices. Are you having a good time? Are we ready for the last lap of Western Springs? We got 50 laps to run. Michael Pickens to win. Ben Morris to win. Hayden Guptill to win. Oh man, I'm right. Well, what about the poppin' good car? The Fabbage car. Mitch Fabbage to win. Okay, that was a bit quiet. Okay, time to go. Let's get ready to run. Oh, geez, 1 minute. Oh God, no. I'm getting excited. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you so much for turning up tonight. It means the world to all the drivers. Can you guys give yourselves a massive round of applause? The biggest thing all season. You guys are fantastic. Have you enjoyed the racing so far? Every time these drivers are on the track, they race like this. I kid you not. Every single time they race like this. Do you know what you've been missing? Yeah or no? Have you missed this stuff? Oh, Jesus, it's not football. Do you miss this stuff? Then let's get ready to race at Western Springs. One more lap. That's it. We got to go. Racing kicks off in a second. See you soon.
So as the teams put the wheel covers on, bleeders are set, new tyres are on. Interesting to see, still an old tyre on the left rear of Ben Morrison's machine. And Graham Standring, obviously still our man on the infield as well. And Graham Standring, you still got us?
Yeah, as I understand it, the rule says that the guy has to be in the car when the 5-minute bell goes, right? So at that point, they are allowed to have one person assist doing up the seat belts in the interest of safety. But the work has to have stopped after the 5-minute. As you can see, some guys are still just getting help to get their seat belts done up and things like that. That's okay in the interest of safety, but no more work on the cars.
So Graham, just while we've got you down there, interesting to know how many guys have gone for 2 new tyres, how many have only done right side, what's sort of the general conception of what guys have done setup-wise out there?
The 2 main players have gone for both rear tyres, left and right. Michael Pickens' tyres were marginally worn on the left rear and not really worn on the right rear. He's been a master of conserving tyres, and I think Mosen's car, they put 2 new ones on as well. So they're all working. There's a bit of an adjustment here to the 87 car via a hammer. So I don't know what that's all about, but so I'm not sure whether that's working on the car or not. So
and Graham,
that's the situation.
While we've got you there as well, obviously there's some high-tech technology being used to obviously manipulate that Nerf bar in Ryan Baker's car, but you say that with Pickens, you must be a little bit torn because you're a big Brad Moser fan, but you've picked Pickens. Oh, see, no comment. I bet that's a little bit awkward for Graham. So as we get these cars fired up once again, we will be back racing very shortly. So remembering 47 laps completed, And 96 laps is our grand total. So we'll be ticking down very shortly and resuming single file once again. So the HLR team going to work on Ryan Baker's car there. And obviously some contact a little bit early on. And remembering only one driver able to work on that car or touching the car at any given time. So interesting to see, it's not actually the nerve bar, so it's Jeff Harper and Shane Snooks down there. So two respectable car owners in their own right. Unfortunately, some engine gremlins there, and it's actually the steering arm. Looks like it's worked loose off the end of the steering box. This is when Jeff just ducked out a shot there. It was a little bit easier to be seen. Nice Daniel Thomas racing sticker on the back of the push truck. Unfortunately, no Dan Thomas, your newly crowned 2NZ last week at Kiki. And let's wait and see. So they're just tightening up. Yeah, so it was that drop arm off the end of the steering box for Ryan Baker had worked itself loose, and they were just pushing it back on to the shaft there. Shane Snooks just giving one last pep talk there to Ryan. His brother Scott was out earlier in the TQ feature as well, driving the Harris race cars, number 64. So it's a family affair, as we say, and the two brothers going at it. And prior to them, Father Lawrence was a hot shoe behind the wheel of TQ as well. So hopefully we see Ryan pushed off and firing up here for this one. Majority of the field fired up and ready to go for the remainder of this race. So 49 laps left to run, and you can't help but think this guy is sitting in a box seat. No doubt he's got two brand new bags on the rear of that race car and is going to be in for a shot of this one. And he's played the long game. He's played the smart game. He's moved up from grid position 12 where he originally started, and he's now going to be restarting this one inside the top 5 out of grid position number 5, well within a shot of working his way forward in the 49 laps. Certainly the physical and mental toughness of these drivers starts to come into play, and it is the longest race that any of these drivers would have taken part in. A 50 lapper is a big enough task in itself, let alone backing it up. So 47, then a 49. An enduro of sorts. But it's going to be Ben Morrison, Michael Pickens, Jaden Worthington, Trent Way, and Brad Mosen, your top 5 restarters here. Ben Morgan out of Canterbury. We saw it with the BT Race for Mates race, that Morgan was right in the mix come the late end of the race, and just worked his way forward and played the long game in the number 45C. So he'll be starting out of grid position number 6, so don't discount him out of this one as well, along with Luke McClymont and our fellow commentary partner as well, Hayden Guptill, currently sitting in the 8th position in that McDonald's number 57 as well. So Maskovich, probably the driver that's actually gone the wrong way as far as moving back in the pack from this one. So having started out of grid position number 1, will be sitting in the 9th position here in the single file restart. So remembering we've lost a certain handful of drivers in this one as well, and it looks like we've actually retired the number 87 car of Ryan Baker as well to the infield with that steering component. Not having any luck there with Shane Snooks and Jeff Harper working hard at it to try and get that race car sorted to take the green here, but it's currently parked on the infield. So line astern, driver's looking good, and no doubt we'll be getting lights out and racing very shortly. So we are set to go racing, ladies and gentlemen, on the edge of your seat for the last 49 laps here of open wheel midget car racing for the last laps at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. 49 laps left to run for the promo lap number 97. What has Ben Morrison got? Can Michael Pickens deliver the win? What has Brad Mosen got? Starting out of grid position number 5. Well, we go green for 49, and we are racing. Ben Morrison goes straight to the top shelf. Michael Pickens shadows him down into turn number 3 and 4. Just sliding through the middle of the racetrack, and Mosen straight back up to the top, trying to navigate his way around the outside of Trent Way, who's running down on the pole line at this point in time, remembering it is essentially 2 races split with that 5-minute caution in between, and the race cars have changed consistently. The track has changed, and the teams have had a chance to take another swing at it to deliver the goods and provide what their drivers need to try and take the top step in the laps. Counting down here at the last lap at Lucas Western Springs Speedway. So Mosen not having any luck trying to get around the outside of Trent Way, so he drops back down to the bottom and runs straight through that rut down at turn number 1. So we'll keep an eye on that one as it prevails as well now. So it isn't going to be long in this one until Ben Morrison, Michael Pickens get into the lap traffic once again. Once the fuel burns off and the tyre condition starts to diminish is when the race really starts. At the moment, Pickens right up, forcing the issue with Ben Morrison. This is the opportunity, and Morrison closes the door. Not even closes it, he slams it on Michael Pickens. Your 10-time champion, Michael Pickens, for the first time, gets the number 54 CRC machine into the lead. And Brad Mosen now moves himself up into the 4th spot. So Ben Morrison just with a small slip up there. Michael Pickens moving the promo lap number 97 up the racetrack, and just left the number 97 hanging there all on his lonesome, which allowed the number 54 through and just killed the run. So Mosen now up into the 4th spot in the Greenway SP Tools number 10, trying to hunt down the number 63 of Jaden Worthington. Ben Morrison shadowing Michael Pickens. He's entering turn number 1 a whole lot harder than Pickens, and using up a whole lot more race car than Pickens at this point in time. Remembering in that interview with Nick Brown, Ben Morrison said he was only using 65% of the race car. Well, I can tell you what, it's a whole lot different now. I'd say he's using about 105% of the race car, trying to hunt down your 10-time New Zealand Digicar champion, Michael Pickens. A little bit deeper in this one, Jaden Worthington running his own race, running in 3rd, but as we say that, Morrison just loses that momentum and loses a little bit of ground coming out of turn number 4, which allows Worthington to close up just a little bit closer, as does Mosen and Trent Way running in the 5th spot. So the laps are ticking down thick and fast. Michael Pickens with full control of this one, just straddling that car, just skimming over the top of that run, entering minus turn number 1. Few other drivers risking everything and running straight through it, whereas you can get away with just skimming just above it as Pickens is, and then just diamond down and just run that title line on the exit. So Mosen now back to that top shelf. Now that he's got around Trent Way, he now sets his eyes onto the back of Jaden Worthington. He's the only driver running down at turn 3 and 4, right up against the wall. As we say that, Jaden Basilay does exactly the same as Mosen now. Obviously track position a little bit different, and the Greenway number 10 doing a great job, and he's closed that gap on Worthington. It's only going to be a lap or so, and Mo is going to be in for a shot here to round up Worthington down at turn number 3 and 4. Mosen looking strong, but has he got the pace of the front 2 drivers? We're going to have to wait and see. Certainly a caution will help his case. As the laps tick down, total lap count 62 laps completed. As they sit at the moment, the fastest car on track is the car running in the 2nd position of Ben Morrison, but there's a decent gap between himself and Michael Pickens as the battle for 3rd is heating up, as it's now a 3-way battle with Trent Way back on the back of Brad Mosen, and then it's another 3-car battle just behind them, Luke McClymont, Ben Morgan, and now our man Hayden Guptill in the mix as well in that McDonald's number 57, and he gets it done and gets up the inside of Ben Morgan with a beautiful pass exiting turn number 4. So move Guptill now up into the 7th spot. Still plenty of drive out on the racetrack as Pickens wheel stands coming out of turn number 4. The CRC driver just doing what he needs to do and not overextending himself or that race car at this point in time. Things are settled down a little bit further back as Morrison hits the wall down at turn number 3 and rides it all the way round to turn number 4. Is that fatigue? Has he used up more of that race car than he was actually telling us? Or was it a slip of concentration? We're about to find out as the drivers behind him. Maybe more stamina, maybe more race car left under them than he alluded to. But the driver out front and continuing to tick off fast lap times is Michael Pickens, but the drivers at first, second and third virtually mirroring each other's pace. As Mosen now with the best run he's had and gets around the outside of the 63 of Worthington, as does Trent Wade, gets up the inside of Jaden Worthington. So move the number 63 back into the 5th spot. He's going to be in the clutches of his teammate Luke McClymont. But Pickens in a league of his own at this point in time, and now Mosen looks to hunt down the youngster out of West Auckland. Ben Morrison back down to the low side of the racetrack. He can see on screen where the drivers around him are running. And Pickens is just certainly not overusing that race car at all. But as we say that, he's now going to find himself into the lap traffic very soon. And he slides through the middle of the racetrack and bangs the push exiting turn number 4. So now starting to maybe push a little bit harder as 71 laps tick by. Out about 96 at the last lap at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway. Ben Morrison just getting a little bit out of shape, exiting turn number 2. Right up against the wall he was coming down the back stretch. Brad Mosen just biding his time, playing the long game. Morrison just checks up in the middle of the turn, which means Mosen had to check up, which allowed Trent Wade just to get a little bit closer. So the J.A. Russell Langslow Engineering, number 9A, looking good. That Bullet Spike, which was run earlier in the season by Buddy Kofoid, which took the New Zealand title. So doing a great job. Trent Wade running in that 4th spot. Those are not able to make any more inroads on Ben Morrison. As we keep an eye on those fastest times, and Pickens just sets the fastest lap of the race on lap 74 out of 96. So there is more up his sleeve for the CRC number 54. But you can't help but feel he's just managing that pace to make sure that things don't get spicy once he gets to the lap traffic, which the first car is going to be Jaden Basilay. Then Ben Morrison still running in that 2nd spot from Brad Mosen. Mosen and Trent Wade bang the wheels coming out of minus turn number 2 last time by. As we see Basilay just right up against the wall. Lap traffic is going to come into play here. Took a little bit more time than we originally thought in the 2nd phase of this race. Jaden Worthington now a little bit further back, battling with his teammate Luke McClymont and Hayden Guptill. The PE teacher putting good use all that physical exercise and hard training to good use here in the 96 lapper at the last lap at Lucas Oil Western Springs Speedway's Mosen now manages to get the deal done on Trent Wade. But in saying that, the gap is starting to close ever so slightly with Ben Morrison and Michael Pickens. So let's wait and see. Has Pickens eased off the gas? I highly doubt it. Or has the pace of Ben Morrison just started to heat up a little bit more as Pickens now gets up the inside? Throws the slider on Basilay, but Basilay fights back. That certainly won't help the run of Michael Pickens as he hits the rut down to turn number 1. So Mosen and Trent Wade lurking in the background, running in that 3rd and 4th spot. 16 laps left to run for Michael Pickens, who gets around Basilay. Basilay not making his life easy. 15 laps left to run for Michael Pickens, as now Mosen tries to get up the inside of Ben Morrison. Ben Morrison doing absolutely everything he possibly can, but I can't help but feel he's used up more of that race car as the yellow comes on for number 63, and it looks like it's Peter Honeybell that's in the wall down on the outside of minus turn number 2.
What a race that is so far, and what a spectacular race from young Ben Morrison, taking on number 54, Michael Pickens. And to be honest with you, Michael Pickens has not been the 10 times New Zealand midget champ for nothing. You're seeing an absolute class lesson in how to drive around there. So often we wait for Americans to come down to show us the track that races around and how to do it. Michael Pickens learns so much, and in my time here, I've seen him start in midgets and then develop, and I've seen him take off 10 New Zealand midget car titles. So brilliant stuff to watch. But then again, Brad Mosen, a great push through the field, up into third place, challenging for second right now. And the big ask is for Ben Morrison, can he hold off Brad Mosen? Can he catch Michael Pickens? It's closed up. Michael is going to be working this one, so he's going to get the drop. But will he be able to get the drop on the two guys behind him? Because they're ready for this. 12 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. And we're still counting down on this. So pretty much when Peter Hunnebell gets fired up and rolls into the back of the pack, once they short out, it will be 10 laps to go. The 96 last lap at Western Springs Speedway. What a way to close it out with the greatest of all time leading the race. The young pretender started out so well this and has actually beaten Michael Pickens in second place. And the perennial guy, Brad Mosen, Mr. Cool, Mr. Relaxed, moving his way up through the field, sitting in third. But then, who's that lurking in fourth? Lights are out, ladies and gentlemen. 10 to go. We're winding it up to the last lap at Lucas Oil, Western Springs Speedway.
The last laps at Lucas Oil, Western Springs Speedway. 10 laps the distance remaining here. Michael Pickens has full control. Ben Morrison second. Brad Mosen got put back a couple of spots for a pass on the grass around Trent Way. As Way gets up the inside of Ben Morrison, tries to bounce through the run and take advantage of Mosen. Now trying to get around the outside of Worthington. But as he does so, it allows Luke McClymont and Hayden Guptill to move up a spot. So Mosen back too. And it's a sprint race to the end for Michael Pickens. Trent Way in the legs, so engineering bangs wheels with Morrison. Forces the issue, and Trent Way now moves himself up into the second spot. The promo lap, number 97. Dropping back there, Jaden Worthington still running in fourth. His teammate Luke McClymont slotting into fifth. And lurking in the background, and Hayden Guptill trying to get his way forward. Having started deep in the back of this one here. And the hard work of the Greenway SB Tools driver, Brad Mosen. He worked his way all the way up into the third spot, as we said, Basilate into the wall down at turn number 3 and 4, along with Ben Morgan as well. But resume racing, and Trent Way is closing the gap to Michael Pickens. Is this going to come alive with 6 to go? We're going to have to wait and see, but the bullet spike gets up the inside of Pickens. Trent Way made the move on Pickens, but Pickens fights back. Who saw that coming? The young West Auckland driver got the move done, but Pickens fought back, and it looks like we've got Morgan McHugh up and over down at Midas turn number 1. And peculiar place down on that pole line as well, and only 5 laps left to run. And remember, the laps continue to count down. So I tell you what, looking at the condition of that right rear, there is no more blocks left on that tyre for Morgan McHugh, and regardless, that certainly wouldn't have helped his case. But what has Pickens got? Has he got any tyre left? Well, who knows? But I tell you what, the fight from young Trent Way, he's all of about 45 kilos, dripping wet, and he's managed to hang on to that TRD spike chassis and doing a good job of it. So let's wait and see. The battle of the chassis manufacturers continue. He's in the king TRD sandwich of Pickens and Morrison at this point in time. And then it's the air-slinger terrors of Luke McClymont and Jaden Worthington there as well. But the car is on the hook. They've stopped the lap count. So showing 91 laps completed, ladies and gentlemen. So it is a 5-lap sprint with a single file restart. And we're going green next time by. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you paid for. 5-lap sprint dash. Michael Pickens comes down to take the green. Is it the final restart? We're about to find out. What has Trent Way got for Michael Pickens? He tries the same move to get up the inside. Ben Morrison, wheel standing out of turn number 2 in the number 97 machine. But already, Pickens and Way have already gapped him for that third spot. So it's going to be a battle for the last step on the podium. But what has Trent Way got for Michael Pickens? He's going to have to go the long way round because Pickens is not going to let go of that bowl line. So either Trent Way needs to move the 10-time champ out of the way or go the long way round. As only 3 more laps left to run. Trent Way, the Langslow engineering machine, the car that has formerly campaigned and won the New Zealand Championship with Buddy Kofoid behind the wheel. Running in second spot. What has he got for Michael Pickens? Still 3 laps left to run in this one. Trent Way just shadowing the line of Michael Pickens at this point in time. Has Pickens used up all his race car? A little bit slower, exiting minus turn number 2 last time by. But the white flag is out for Pickens. He is not going to make it easy for the youngster. Is there going to be a Hail Mary around the outside? Trent Way hits the rut down at turn number 1. Loses the momentum. Is he going around the outside? No, he shadows Pickens around NZ Safety Blackwoods for the last time. Ladies and gentlemen, your feature winner for the 96-lapper, Michael Pickens. What a race. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you what, that was one hell of a race. And before you leave, make sure you hang around for this. If anyone knows how to pull donuts, it's this man, Michael Pickens. There is canvas showing through on that right rear tyre. There is nothing left on Pickens' tyre set. So hang around for the donuts. There'll be some, I can assure you of that. But put your hands together. The 10-time New Zealand Midget car champion, Michael Pickens, takes victory in the 96 last lap here at Lucas Oil. So, ladies and gentlemen, just confirming those results on screen. Pickens gets it done. Absolutely sensational drive. Trent Way hanging on for that second spot, and one heck of a drive there as well. Not able to get it done on Pickens, but an absolute beauty. And third place going to Ben Morrison.
Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The last lap at Lucas Oil Western Spring Speedway. The 96 lapper won by what I consider the greatest of all time, Michael Pickens, 10 times New Zealand champion, and the one that winds it up at Lucas Oil Western Spring Speedway. That's it. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to the drivers, the families for 96 years of racing, and the sponsors of all the legends of Speedway. Okay, and let's cross now to Graham Standring, who's going to interview the 96 lap champion.
Right hand down. Check this out, Robin. Well, is that the best moment ever?
It's pretty special, you know. I mean, hopefully that really isn't the last, but as of right now it is. So it's you know, it's magic. I mean, I want to thank all you guys for coming out tonight. This is the biggest crowd I've ever seen in my lifetime. So congrats to you guys for sitting through tonight, and I hope you really enjoyed it.
Mate, your canvas is showing that the strip diagonally across the right rear tyre, so maybe 1 or 2 more laps left in it. So, and when Trent Way started putting some pressure on you, what was your thoughts then?
I knew my tyre was done. I just had no right rear grip at all, so I was just basically trying to cover the bottom and make. I figured no one was going to go around the outside of me, so just cover the bottom and not make a mistake. But man, huge thanks to CRC, Warwick McKenzie. We've got so many partners that help us with this car. Jackie and Ron Geku own Toyota. I wouldn't be racing if it wasn't for them owning the motor. All my guys have worked tirelessly. Obviously, we had a bad run the sprint car, but we need to reward them with this.
Wasn't it a fantastic race? Ben Morrison did a great job early on, and I really got the feeling cat and mouse.
Yeah, I was just letting them cats go. You know, especially when I saw Hodgie, I thought, hey, you guys have at it, and I was sitting back and just waiting, really. It's like I've always said in the past, you know, last lap counts, and tonight it surely did.
Okay, Michael Pickens, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands again together one more time for Michael, the GOAT Pickens.
Thank you.
Right, we're looking for Trent Way now. He's buried in here. This would be one of your best drives ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Showed Pickens my nose a bit too early, but no, it's a good run. I think we started 6, and well, hats off first to my co-driver Dad. He did a good job tonight. We started 4th in the dash, and I drove a bit average and went backwards, but yeah, we made it up for it in the feature and finished 2nd. It's cool to get a podium here. Obviously, it sucks. I hope this isn't the last time that we race at this awesome facility, but cool to at least put my name on the podium charts here. It would have been nice to get the win, but hats off to Pickens, he drove well.
Yeah, he did drive well, but tell me how you thought when you actually realised that you had some car speed and you were gaining on him, and you could see the gaps and you could see the parts where he wasn't as strong as you. Was that encouraging for you?
Yeah, it was really encouraging when he keep leaving the door open at 1 and 2, but I knew if I bombed in there too hard, we were both going to end up upside down, so I had to try and do it with him staying upright and me staying upright, and it just didn't quite work out. And then 3 to go, he started covering the bottom, so I tried to diamond back under him, but Pickens, being class that he is, he was open to that and knew that I'd been trying to cover under him, so it'd slow up on the exit. But no, just hats off to everyone on the team. I wouldn't be able to do this without them, and everyone that backs the car: Langsville Engineering, J.O. Russell, Two-Way Industries, Carbon Developments, I Sign It, Sierra Motor Company, Fitch Racing, Racer Products, and Heater Designs. Everyone that helps out, it wouldn't be possible without them. Thank you, Graham.
Okay, thanks very much. And 2nd place, the last feature, the 96 lap, Trent Way, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together. Oh, and 3rd, man, what a drive, what a drive. It looked like you just ran out of ideas there for a while.
Yeah, I would have loved it if the race was 47 laps. We would have been ripper. But, you know, that's the way it goes. To run up with these guys is awesome, you know. I tried to run the top as long as I could there and hang on in, and I gave it one final go there on that last restart and got the front wheels up, but there was just nothing to come off the corner. So kind of retreated back to the bottom and followed the leader, and like my right rear tyre, it's smoked. You know, I probably wouldn't even get 2 more laps out of it.
No, that's the same as Michael's and the Trent Way car, marginally better than all you guys. But, man, that was a hell of a drive. Well done. And 3rd place, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Morrison.
Thanks for everyone coming out. Hopefully we can be back here next year.
Okay, now come on down for the podium. There's a podium presentation down by the control tower there, straight after the meeting. Come on down.